Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, November the 18th. It's about 10:30 in the morning. My wife just dropped me off at the Clearwater Lake Recreational Trailhead. I'm planning on hiking on the Florida Trail this weekend for the next 4 days from Clearwater Lake Recreational Area up to the Store 88. Should be about 50 some miles altogether over the next 4 days. This is really a shakedown hike to get ready for the Colorado Trail. I went ahead and packed everything that I'm going to take next summer on the Colorado Trail to test it out. Some of the things I obviously won't be using this weekend, especially some of the cold weather type items, but wanted to try to match the weight and packing and everything similar to what I'll be doing on the Colorado Trail. So today's day one and just getting started, and I will check in a little bit later. Wanted to mention too that this weekend I'm also trying out a new way to do the videos. In the past I used a GoPro and an Olympus camera. Since then we've got some new iPhones, so I'm going to try to record the next 4 days this hike and hopefully in Colorado on the iPhone. Also, in the past I spent a lot of time doing the video editing after I got home, a lot of voiceover, spent countless hours putting those videos together. So going forward, it's going to be as normal and raw as possible. I really only want to try to take videos on something that I'm actually going to use. In the past, we used to take many hours of videos for a 10-minute and then have to go through and trim and figure out what to use over many different hours and days into about a 10-minute or 15-minute video. So we'll see how this goes. I'm also going to try to use a new video editing software, LumaFusion, on the iPhone instead of Adobe Desktop that I used in the past. So we'll see how this goes. Lots of new stuff, but I want to try it, check it out before the Colorado Trail and try to get everything figured out and tuned in. Check back later. Currently about a mile into the hike, and I thought I'd stop and take a couple pictures and show you a little bit about what the trail looks like. Trail out of Clearwater Lake is really well groomed, very well marked. A little bit of elevation up and down, but that's Florida. Just finished going through a nice little pine forest. It's very, very overcast today, which is probably good, keeping the sun out. So anyway, I will check in a little bit later. Okay, just finished mile number 2. Thought I'd show you a preview of what the trail looks like. Not sure how far I'll go today. I've been having some foot issues for a while now, and so it's not feeling too bad right now, but I'm hoping to make it maybe about 15 miles and set up camp. That would be a little more than what I would want to do normally. There is a spot maybe about 10 miles, 10 or 11 mile point, but I'd like to maybe make it past that if I can, feeling good, and stop at about the 15 mile if that's possible. So trail's still looking good, in really good shape. No sun. Hopefully the weather stays like this the entire weekend. That would be absolutely perfect. I'll check in a little bit later. Okay, just finished mile 3 and thought I would check in. Making slow progress, but making progress. Hadn't seen any wildlife yet, which really surprises me. I have been fairly quiet. But that's something that we've noticed recently, or on our hikes, is we actually see more wildlife in our neighborhood residential area than we do out in the middle of the woods. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but that's just our observation. Probably noticing a lot of orange on. Seems like every time you hike in Florida, it's hunting season. for something. I'm not sure what people are hunting now, but on our drive up here, we did see quite a few hunters along the road, getting out of their cars and going out into the woods. But I think the Ocala National Forest, where I'm at, is a very popular hunting area, regardless of what they're hunting. So anyway, I will need to figure out where I'm going, and I will check in a bit. Okay, just finished the 4 miles and making progress. Trail's been fairly flat, so making our way up the trail. Just wanted to point out there's a good water source on the right-hand side, right around mile marker 4, or 4 miles outside of Clearwater. Not that you would need water if you're starting at Clearwater Lake, but if you're starting maybe further down the trail or somewhere else and you're looking for water, it is on the Far Out, or formerly Gut Hooks app. It shows a water source on the right-hand side. Looks like a pretty good sized water. Don't know if you could see it back off into the distance, but looks like you might have to do a little bushwhacking to get to it. Talk to you soon. I think I spoke too soon. Just a few steps down the trail, there's a path and a easy access, easy way to get down to the water source if you need water at this point on the trail. Again, it's about 4 miles past Clearwater Lake Recreational Area. Okay, just past mile number 5. Starting to realize I probably will not make 15 miles today, since I didn't start till 10:30 or so this morning. It's taken me about 2.5 hours. I've stopped a few times to take pictures and video, but it's taken about 2.5 hours to go 5 miles, and it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I know it's going to get dark early tonight, so I may need to camp around the Alexandra Springs area. You can either go into the park and pay and have a nice campsite there within the park at Alexandra Springs, or I know that there's a primitive campsite on the Blue Trail leading into Alexandra Springs. I've seen, looks like it's been used quite a few times, so that's another possibility too, at around the 10 or 11 mile mark. So we'll see. We'll find out a little bit later. Wanted to point out this spot at about mile 5.21. There's an intersection here at the power lines, and it almost looks like the trail goes that way. There's no markings on the tree and all, but there is an orange marker ablaze down here. And I did see it when I first came through here, but couldn't really tell where the trail goes. But I did walk down the road just a little ways, but it looks like the trail goes right through this this thicket here. Okay, currently at mile number 6. It's about 1:15 or so in the afternoon. Making progress. Looked like it was going to rain, but it so far hasn't. I don't know if you can see these trees, but now going into kind of a, I'm not sure what these are called, kind of a thicket. Sure seems like it's going to get dark early. I'm sure it will out here. Still not sure whether I'm going to stop at Alexandra Springs or try to continue. The next campsite after Alexandra Springs was showing about another 5 miles, or recommended campsite about another 5 miles or so up the road. So that may be a little too far to try to go today before it gets dark. And since I'm in bear country, I'm not real crazy about walking, hiking alone after dark. Okay, we'll check in a little bit later. Thought I would grab some video of this boardwalk. We'd been up here before and hiked from Alexandra Springs a little bit on this trail, and then turned around and did an out and back. It's a pretty long boardwalk though. It goes over a swampy area. But it probably, I never did look it up, but it seems like it may be half a mile maybe, I'm not really sure, or further, but it's pretty long. It's kind of cool. Keeps you out of the swampy water. Thought I would take a minute too and talk a little bit about where we've been. We had planned on doing a lot of kayak camping over the summer. We bought some kayak camping gear, like a new cooler for one of the kayaks. We bought a Big Agnes 3-person tent, since we wasn't concerned about weight, because we'd be carrying it in the kayaks. Unfortunately, in our area, we got the red tide situation, which kind of put a damper on the kayaking, so we kind of put them away for the summer. Talked to other people who had went out, and it wasn't a good experience with the smell of dead fish and everything else going on. So this is actually the first hike I have done this fall, and now that our weather hopefully is going to continue to get cooler, we'll be able to get out and do some more hiking videos. I wanted to do this one. This is the first opportunity I got to go solo, based on my work schedule and all, and wanted to try to cross that off the list and see what it was, how it was going to be to go out and hike alone by myself for 4 days and check out the gear. We'll check in a little bit later. Just past mile marker number 7. It's about 1:40 in the afternoon, and just stopped here to take a quick little break and get back on the trail. I know that I've done some gear reviews in some of the previous videos, but I've been spending most of the summer trying to go through my gear list and not upgrade or replace some of the gear that I've been using for some lighter gear. So maybe sometime over the weekend, I'll take a few minutes and just go over those items that I've replaced to help lighten the load for the Colorado Trail. See you in a bit. Just past mile number 8, and thought I would show you a little bit about what the trail looks like here. Been going through some, I guess, little pine and mostly scrub brush for a while now. Trail's sandy, but it's not soft sand or anything. It's all packed, so it's not any big deal. It's like, I'm not sure what the temperature is. Don't have any cell service right here, but it's pretty warm. I must be working hard because I'm sweating, and every time I stop, I get swarmed by mosquitoes, so they're out. So anyway, hopefully should be a couple miles maybe to Alexander Springs. Check in a little later. Checking in at mile 9. Still making progress. I will admit though, I am pooped. I think the pack, of course, that I haven't wore for a while or haven't used for a while, it's a little heavier than I hoped to be. Like the 4 days of food, and then I am carrying about 4 liters of water too. So that's quite a bit of extra weight. So I'll decide. It's 2-something in the afternoon. It's going to get dark here in a couple hours. So I'll decide in the next mile, maybe at mile 10, or when I get to the junction for Alexander Springs, what I'm going to do as far as camp. So check in later. Okay, this is the mile 10 check-in. Getting close to Alexander Springs. I think I went ahead and decided I'm going to go ahead and camp at Alexander Springs tonight. I think the trails, or the campground's about a half a mile, I think, if I remember right, off from the trail. And I just looking forward to setting up the tent and fixing dinner and relaxing and getting this pack off my back. I think I figured out why I'm pooped. I did have a birthday last month. Now I'm officially older than dirt. And so I think that explains it. Check in a little later. Okay, at the junction of the turnoff to Alexander Springs, Comes at about 10.5 miles from Clearwater Lake, and it's about 0.5 miles down to the actual campground. So hopefully I'll find out in a little bit if they have a campsite. Hopefully they do. If not, I'll have to come back up in this area here and try to find a flat spot that I could set up a tent. I'll check in a little later. Bye-bye. Okay, 12-mile check-in, and just arrived at Alexander Springs. So heading up to the check-in to see if they have a tent site. It's midweek, so Thursday, so hopefully they'll have something available. We'll find out in a few. Well, arrived at the camp, was able to get a campsite. Looks like they had a lot of things available, so not really a big problem. Nice flat campsite for a tent. Tent's already pitched and ready to go, and it's time to fix some dinner and kick back and relax for a while. So we will check in a little bit later. Well, here's the final day one check-in. Camp set up, tent's ready to go, got a change of clothes, dinner's done, and just need to go clean up some trash and go ahead and retire for the night. Ended today with about 12.12 miles from Clearwater Lake up to Alexandra Springs campground. And then tomorrow I'll continue on day 2, heading north towards the 88 store. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.